Hey friends, welcome back to 2 Feet In with Kim. I am your host, Kim Brown, and I'm really excited because today we have my friend Caitlin Rease joining me on the pod, and we have a fun episode planned for y'all. So Valentine's Day is just around the corner, and you know, people are talking about love and relationships and all the things, and we've got a few things to say about that. And so if you are single or you're dating or engaged or you're married, then there is something in this episode for you. And so I hope that you enjoy this conversation with my friend, Caitlin Rease. Hey, Kate, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
I'm so glad that you're here.
Me too.
I'm excited for this whole episode. We don't really totally know what's coming, but it's going to be good.
Bro, off the dome. It's going to be great.
Well, as you know, every week we start this podcast with the same question. What are you finding joy in right now?
Ooh, that's a good question. I have been reading a lot more. That's one of my goals for 2026.
Okay.
Is to be more well-rounded, more well-read. So I am reading this book called The Courage to Be Disliked.
Ooh.
And it is not a Christian book, but is somehow still convicting. It's a Japanese philosopher and his student going back and forth having a conversation just about humanity and the way that we operate. And I feel like there's so many biblical truths like rooted in it. It's been so good to be like, man, it's freeing to just be the person that God's designed you to be and to not worry about controlling others or their view of you and just walking in that fullness. So that's been really dope.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
At the Christmas party next year.
Here comes the shade.
You should bring it for the book exchange.
I will. I thought it had to be a Christian book, though.
You know, last year, Em gave away Dinner for Vampires by Bethany Joy Lentz, and it got stolen a couple times.
Ooh.
So it's like she was in a cult while also on this hit TV show, and it's like her kind of journey through it, and it's really interesting.
Oh, wow.
But it's not technically a Christian book.
Yeah.
And she brought it, and it was good. So, like, you can bring...
Okay, cool.
Whatever. But anyway, I love that. I like that you're wanting to read more.
Are you reading something right now?
I'm reading, I'm gonna have to look this one up.
It's okay. I can't judge. I have short-term memory loss. I'm like Dory from Finding Nemo. I have short-term memory loss.
But for real? Not actually.
I don't know if that's like a diagnosis. But yeah.
Okay.
My recall is pretty bad.
I feel like I normally remember, but books are a struggle. I'm reading A Shepherd's Look at Psalm 23, which is like this tiny little blue book. And the guy that wrote it is like an actual shepherd. And he's like, here's what Psalm 23 actually means.
Dang.
It's really good.
Fresh perspective.
Yeah. It's
I
like,
love that.
oh, okay, cool. Like, here's the purpose of the valley. That's what part I'm on right now. So that's what I'm recalling. But the rest of it's been good too. Okay, the point of today, Valentine's Day. Ooh. Technically, as we record, we're a couple weeks out, but this is releasing 2-ish days before Valentine's Day. I was like, hey, let's do something fun for this Valentine's Day episode. So I was like, who do I know that would have some good ideas? Caitlin Rease. So I like texted Kate, hey, so what would be a good episode? What does the next generation want to know?
For the record, I'm on the border of Gen Z and millennial, so I'm not like super young, but I get a little bit of both camps.
Okay.
But to you, I'm probably like deep in Gen Z culture.
I had all these really cool ideas. But before we dive in, I didn't tell you this yet, but last night I was like praying about this because I haven't been super organized with my thoughts, right? And I've kind of shared that. But I was like, God, like what do you want me to talk about?
Yeah.
Like, how do you want this episode to go? I'm a single girl. What do I have to say about Valentine's Day, you know? And the podcast is called 2 Feet In. Like, we talk about, like, it means surrender and, like, being all in with Jesus. And then I kind of got this really clarifying phrasing. 2 feet in is living in light of who God is and who he made you to be. Okay, so if we're single, how are we living that out in light of who God is and who we were made to be? If we're dating, how are we dating in light of who God is and who he made us to be? If we're married in all these different stages of life, how is who God is and who he made us to be, how should that shape how we're living in those stages of life?
Yeah.
And so as we were talking about it, it's kind of like, oh, well, that's like one brings a lot of clarity on the podcast, but also just on like the topic of relationships and marriage and dating and even singleness. We should be living in this countercultural way. And I felt like that really tied in with essentially what we're doing wrong.
Yeah.
So there's like the foundation
For sure.
And we'll just like build off of that.
Yeah. I mean, Valentine's Day has so many expectations, insinuations, like what it's supposed to be. And a lot of it is anti-gospel.
Yeah. Expand on that.
Oh, brother. It's performative, I think. It's like, even though I have mixed feelings about Valentine's Day. I was saying to you earlier, like, honestly, Galentine's Day is way more fun and way more fun to plan for these days. And so, like, we should just change the holiday altogether. Make it about the women. Make it for the girly pops, if you know what I mean.
Yep. I'm down.
And yeah, I think I appreciate the dedicated time plan to like, yeah, let me go spend time with the hubby. Like, let's check in, let's do something fun. Like, it's almost like a built-in date night. Like, that's good because I thrive on structure. But at the same time, there's so many expectations, especially when you're on social media. Because I'm over here like, is he gonna wake me up with a big bouquet of roses? Like, I don't know. Like, it's so hard not to have expectations, or like, what restaurant are we gonna go to, or what fun thing does he have planned, or wait, am I supposed to do something? It's 2026. Should I lead this out? You know? And is it a give and take? Is it really about the woman? Is it about the relationship? So there's just too much. It's a lot.
Yeah. Well, back up a second.
Yeah.
Tell us about you. How long have you been married? Who's your husband?
Yeah.
We love him. We know him. Tell our friends.
Mr. Clinton Rease. We know him. We love him.
Yeah.
I call him Real Raw Rease. He used to be, used to be on a podcast and run it with one of his best friends. And that was like his
awesome.
Stage name, Real Raw Rease.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, Clinton and I have been married for 2 years and some change. We got married October 2023.
Nice.
But yeah, feels like a lifetime, but also so short at the same time. Yeah, that's my homie. That's my bestie.
Yeah.
My lover and friend in one.
What does Valentine's Day look like in the Rease house?
Yeah, that's a great question. What we have planned at the moment, we are going to do like a dinner reservation. Like, usually we're big like foodie people. Like, we just like love to eat and try new places. So we're going to try a new restaurant downtown called The Well on 2nd Street. And then I got a gift card for this place called Slow North. It's this like soy candle making workshop. So I was like, let's cash in on that. It's like technically free to us right now. So usually it's that. And like, we're big movie people. So we'll probably just be on the couch later watching a rom-com. Like, that's one of my favorite things about Clint. It's like, he has a soft side. So he like loves a good rom-com.
Love that.
Yeah.
Do you ever get on social media and like comparison kicks in?
Oh, for sure. I think that's everybody. You're not ever immune to it. Yeah, you'll see someone who got 100, red roses delivered on their doorstep, or they wake up and their husband's got the whole, breakfast in bed laid out for them. And so it's hard not to have high expectations. I think that's who I am as a person too. You have to fight that thought and be like, just because I didn't receive those things doesn't mean that I'm not loved deeply in that way. It may be shown differently.
Yeah. Have you always felt like that? Or like, did that take growing?
To not compare?
Yeah.
No, Kim, I've always been perfect. I've always just never struggled with comparison.
I just add that to my list. Jealous of Caitlin.
No, not at all. No, like, I mean, we definitely had arguments during dating where I was like, so I actually want to cry right now because this is my expectations for how this day was going to go. Not even necessarily Valentine's Day, like anything where it's like, dang, I was hoping this and this is how it was. And it's like, you really have to learn, like, communicate your expectations, or you can't silently hold someone to them. Like, that's just not fair to them. So it's always an ongoing conversation. And I think we have learned to do that well now, to be like I even ask him for like Saturdays and Sundays, like for weekends, like what are your expectations for this weekend? Like what will feel restful? What are you hoping to get out of it? And then that way we can like be on the same page about our plans. Otherwise it might be like, oh, I have this expectation that like you're going to spend all this time with me. And then you end up being like, oh, Saturday, I'm going to knock out all these tasks I needed to do. And so you just kind of miss each other, and it causes disappointment if you don't talk it out.
I've heard so many people say that the gap between expectation and reality is disappointment.
For sure.
So I love that you said that. If you're not communicating your expectations, how do you hold anybody to them?
Yeah.
Or even how do you expect them to know.
They can't read your mind.
We think sometimes that guys can read our mind, and it's just not true.
Most of the time they think about one thing at a time, whereas we have multiple tabs open in our minds as women.
Yeah. For sure. So as we talk about dating, like take us back to early Kate's wish list for her future husband.
This is funny because as soon as you asked this question when we were planning the episode, I got a vivid deep cut memory. I went all the way back to 6th grade Kate. And like I said earlier, my memory's bad. So, this was deeply ingrained. I was a youth group kid. So we had our little 6th grade girls Bible study one night, and we were talking about marriage and dating and what to look for, which is hilarious because I'm like in 6th grade. Why are we thinking about that?
Yeah.
But our Bible study teacher was like, okay, I'm going to give y'all a piece of paper and a marker, and I want all of y'all to go into a different room in the house and just like sit there and write a list of all the attributes like you want in a future spouse. And it's like, dog, did you really think 6th grade girls were going to have some insightful like list of things? And so, of course, it became just like this unrealistic wish list. And so I really specifically remember like my number one, because I love Jesus, I was like, he must love the Lord. So like, of course, that has to be number one. That's a given. Right. Number 2, has abs. It's like, okay, well, we've lost the plot. That's got to be number 2. Your girl lucked out. We got a handsome husband in the process, but we didn't always know that was going to be no guarantee he's going to be a Ken doll. You know what I'm saying? I just thought that was so funny.
Oh my gosh! So you had a 2 bullet point list.
Oh no, I'm sure there were more, but that's what I can remember. I
wish
I had
the top 2. Oh, that would be fun.
The top 2. That's really what you want the most,
right? Those are the most important.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Mine were like, has to have green eyes, has to be taller than me, has to be able to like carry me on their shoulders.
Oh yeah.
Has to like country music, knows how to 2-step. I mean, it was all pretty
specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was literally building a man.
Build a man. It's true.
I was like, this is my dream man. And I would take fragments of exes essentially. Dang. Here's what I liked about this one. But this person had these attributes. I want to keep those, but he didn't have these other things. It's like taking parts of different people to like build this dream guy.
Exactly.
That probably doesn't exist.
No. You're like, yeah, my husband's going to have all the best parts of all of these people and none of the flaws.
Right. Exactly. He's going to be perfect. I don't think anywhere on there was encourage me in my walk with Christ. I was a Christian. I mean, I have been for a really long time, but that wasn't a priority.
Right.
Goes to church. Oh, for sure. Leads well. Nah, I got that. That never crossed my mind.
Yeah.
Dating well never crossed my mind. It was find a boy, get married, have a family. If it's Christ honoring, it doesn't matter. Priorities were a little mixed up back then.
It's funny too, looking back, for sure, as I got older, my list got more and more specific. Like yours, like 6'5", plays basketball or football, like has to do da-da-da. It's so interesting to see the unspoken expectations that you have that you didn't even know were there. A little story from when Clint and I were first dating. We were literally only like 2 months in. Also, mind you, Clint is like my first and only relationship. We don't include talking phases and stuff like that. We'll keep the Gen Z language out of it. But yeah, my first and like really only boyfriend. And so we were 2 months in, and obviously like I'm figuring this out as we go. I'm dating for the first time at 22. And so I just started to realize there were things about him that were different than what I expected. And they're not necessarily bad. Like, different is not bad. But I remember talking to our good friend, Mr. Mitchell Johnson. Yep. Shout out to our lead pastor of the Way Church Plant. And he was so sweet. He was asking me, he's like, how's it going? Like, because he had been friends with like both of us separately. We met through the Bible study that he was leading. Nice. And so, dream case scenario. Right. And he's like, how's it going? And I was like, it's good. Like, he's really sweet and kind to me. We have fun. But like, things are just different than I expected. And he's like, what do you mean? And I grew up not a PK, but basically a pastor's kid, and very goody two shoes, very like leader, vocal personality, led in like the worship team, was always kind of in that type A leader capacity.
Yeah.
And so I think what I began to realize was like, oh, I'm probably going to end up with the future pastor type, you know, the one who is really well spoken, who wants to lead, who wants to be at the forefront. And I was like, it's going well. He's just like not what I expected in that way. Like he's very much doesn't want to be the center of attention. He's more likely to tear down at church, stack the chairs than he is to be, you know, leading the Bible study or preaching on the stage. And so that was my very narrow view of what leadership looked like. It has to be very visual, like upfront, if that makes sense. And Mitch was like, okay, I think that's actually a really good quality. Like, I think that's a positive thing. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, the fact that he doesn't need to be in the spotlight means that his like heart to serve is genuine. He's a very humble dude. Like I began to like notice that then and be like, oh wow, like I'm so prone to pride, and like he's not. He's like, oh yeah, like I'm down to do something and like never get the credit, or like be the guy that washes the dishes, stacks the chairs at church, like does that kind of thing, and is probably not going to be on the stage preaching or like leading something in that way, but like he leads us well by example, I feel like. And so that was really cool to be like, oh, this is not what I expected, but this is what God has for me. And he knew it was better. He knew my weakness needed to be my partner's strength and their weakness needed to be my strength, and kind of like complement each other in that way. Yeah.
Clint's awesome.
He is. He's the best.
Y'all, both of y'all are really great. But I could totally see that too. Like, he's a little bit more quiet.
Yeah.
But like very servant hearted.
Yes.
And like, I think that, you know, y'all do complement each other really well.
Appreciate
good
it.
old Mitchell and his good advice.
I know.
His pastorly advice.
We need friends like that. We need other people to process with and give us like better perspective on things like that, especially dating.
Dating in community and not isolation is so important.
100%.
Because if there was a red flag, like he would tell you.
Yeah.
He's like, no, this is a good thing. Green flag.
Right.
Move forward.
Yeah, I'm like, red flag. He's like, no. Green flag.
Stacks chairs, red flag. No. We've got it backwards. What should we be looking for? What are the green flags? If we were to make a list now.
Great question.
If somebody's saying, hey, I'm thinking about dating, or I'm dating a guy, what should I be looking for?
Bro.
What should a list look like? Not a build a man, but like a godly man, you know?
Exactly. I mean, even to touch on that, like, yeah, this is not a Build-A-Bear workshop. Like, we're not here asking for our dream attributes. There are things that are non-negotiables. Like, we should talk about that. But some things, it's like, this is a preference, dog, that you need to let go of. Like, it's really not that deep. And also, like, Clint and I are the same height. He's not 6'5". Let me tell you how little that actually affects your relationship. But yeah, green flag, I think as soon as you see, like, they are quick to repent and apologize. Like, in conversations that I have with single dating and married people, like, the biggest, like, I feel like sign of success is that this person is quick to repent. And if you never see them like confessing sin or apologizing for stuff, red flag. Yep. I don't know. That's the first one that comes to mind.
I mean, that's very much pride versus humility.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. It takes a humble person to be like, okay, I messed up, and to apologize. Like, you're owning it, you're turning from it, and you're apologizing for it.
For sure.
I love that. Actually, you talked about a Tim Keller quote. I want to read it.
Yeah.
It says, falling in love in a Christian way is to say, I'm excited about your future and I want to be part of getting you there. This is a green flag for sure, but I love the way that you like expand on this.
Yeah.
So what does that mean to you? Like, why does that stand out to you?
I feel like there should be this level of excitement when you see like what God is doing in that person's life, knowing they're not a finished product, right? There's things that are going to frustrate you and things that maybe their weakness that you're strong in, or vice versa. But if you see their general trend is like, man, I'm just wanting to grow in Christ likeness as we go on our way to heaven, our journey to heaven. And these are like the specific dreams and goals that they have. Like for me, when Clint and I were dating, there was a part of him, I think he was coming out of a really rough season of life. And so there were parts of him that were beat down, that were cynical. And I think I was in a really like healthy, thriving season. And so as we like dated, and I could see just like the little sprouts, the blooming come back out of him. And like, he is such a dreamer, but he's like, he had suppressed it for a long time. Like he was going through a really rough season. And so as I started to see that like thrive, and he got into like godly community and became really close friends with some like really solid dudes in like our small group, like you can see him start to have like those dreams again. And like we both have degrees in business. And so it's like, oh, and I have this idea and I want to do this. And you're just like, man, this is so cool. Like the way that you're wired, and like I think the same and I dream the same things. And like I've even heard people who have the desire to go overseas and like be long-term missionaries, like they meet their partner and the partner's like, I've known since like middle school, like my heart's been burdened for the nations. And they're like, me too. Like it just like you see little pieces of yourself in each other and you're like, wait, this is so cool. Or well, he'll talk about like wanting to do a ministry for men and how there's like lack of male discipleship in the church. And I'm like, yes, like I've been seeing that too. And like he has these ideas for retreats and how to pour into guys. And I'm like, this is so freaking cool. Like I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
You have this dream, like let me help you execute it. And just like when you see that person's passion and like what lights them on fire, you're like, I have to be a part of that.
Yeah, that's cool. And earlier when we were talking, you mentioned when you think this way, like I'm excited about your future and I want to be a part of getting you there. I'm not trying to fix you.
Yes.
I just want to be on the journey with you.
For sure.
And I've heard pastors who've kind of mentioned marriage is a lot of like supporting your spouse in whatever the Lord's calling them to do and their passions and their dreams. And it's just so cool to see that. For people who've been married 30, 40, 50 years, it's like, oh, well, it wasn't an easy road.
No.
But like we chose each other every day over and over again. I chose you to go on this journey with.
Yeah.
I think if somebody's trying to figure out who am I looking for in a spouse, it's like somebody that you're going to say, I choose you every day, regardless of if you're down for a season or if you're sick or if you're depressed or if you're struggling or if we're in the midst of conflict. It's like, I know, I see your character.
For sure.
And I think that in dating, we overlook character a lot if we see physical attributes that are attractive.
The chemistry.
We choose chemistry over character. It's really should be the other way around, right? Like character first.
100%.
I do think chemistry is important. Like I know some people will be like, oh no, if you put two people that are Christians in a marriage, like they'll be fine. It's like, well,
we need something there.
We have some chemistry. Like you want them to like each other. But like if everything's based off of emotion, feeling, chemistry, well, that might not last forever.
Yeah, I feel like we talk a lot about in the church, like you're going to lose that feeling of love that like it'll come and go, like it'll be in waves. And I feel like a helpful framework for me has been like respect should always be there. Both are important. Like I have always heard it like, oh, men crave respect and women crave love. It's like we actually need both.
Yeah.
And so I feel like something that was a green flag for me and helpful to see is in Clint when we were dating is like, yeah, even though there were like hard days when maybe it was even external circumstances or maybe it was like just little things you did got my nerve and we're just bickering. There was still this like high level of respect that he treated me with and that I felt towards him. Because I think that you can love someone and like be like being in a relationship with them, but not always respect them or respect their choices or their character. And so what I found was like he still fought fair. He still never like yelled at me or like threw, dirty laundry at me, like things not like physically, like threw my dirty laundry or held something over my head. It was always like, okay, I'm frustrated right now and my voice is a little intense, but like I'm wanting and seeking resolution and trying to communicate to like reach that. It's never like, well, you did this, so like that excuse. It was always, and it always is so respectful. And so I feel like a helpful measure for me was like, hopefully one day God blesses us with kids. Would I be happy with my son seeing this man as his primary figure for what it means to be a man? And I was like, yeah. I mean, this man's not like perfect. And he's obviously, we're going to teach in our household that Jesus is the ultimate standard. But like, I would be proud, and I know he would like disciple them and raise them with intention. But like some people are like, and you might be like dating or evaluating someone and you're like, I don't know that I fully trust them or respect them in this department. It's like, all right, let's really seriously evaluate that one. That might be something to step back on.
Yeah. If we're saying, are you the person that can be like the model of a man for my son?
Yeah.
The first thing that comes to mind for me is, am I the person that can model a woman for my daughter?
That's good.
And so how do you become who you are meant to be? I mean, it's a lifelong process, right? Like that's sanctification. That is not a journey that ends on this earth. But during the dating phase, so often we're looking for somebody to fill me up or somebody to serve me. At least that was my story. That might not be everybody's story.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like I was dating to fill a hole in my heart that I thought a person could fill. Yeah. It was a God-shaped hole that I thought like man could fill.
Yeah, American consumerism has become our dating complex. Like, you see people as things to be consumed or to potentially serve you and be your spouse, and you're trying to fit them into that role, versus see them for their humanity and the fact that they're a human with a story, and it's complex, and they have, you're not going to show up and find this like perfect puzzle piece for yourself that like locks right in. And again, like, dating is not shopping for your ideal attribute. You're not building a man. And so with that like shopping mindset, I think it can make us very passive in our own growth of like, in a way, we're signaling to God, hey, like, I'm ready. I've reached a certain level of maturity that I've deemed worthy of being ready to get a spouse or whatever. And so waiting for you to reward me. So I'm just going to sit back and wait for your timing. So maybe there's like two camps. One is you're sitting back, you're passively waiting, or two, you're almost taking a too active role, and it's like become the consumeristic shopping mindset that you were talking about, looking for somebody to serve me and fill my needs or fix my insecurity, whatever it might be. And so neither is the best approach, because waiting is not passivity. Like, we are waiting on the Lord. That's a biblical principle. But it's never passive. I think sometimes you can fall into the trap of like, I'm here, I've made it, I'm arrived, I'm ready, Lord. And he has a purpose for why he has you where he does. And it could be you meet him the next day, you could meet him 5 years from now. But we still need to work on ourselves and grow in our likeness of Christ. Because that's actually for our future joy and our spouse's future joy, right? If that's in God's story for us, like the hard work that I do now to heal from the trauma in my past, to work out my selfishness, to root out this sin habit I keep running to, that is obviously for my sanctification and my joy now and down the road, but it's also going to serve my spouse. Literally the phrase that I kept hearing during singleness, dating, and marriage that has like held up to be so true in my experience is that marriage is as hard as you are selfish. And it's like literally so true. Obviously, some people go through extremely hard, like external circumstances, like the loss of a child, a cancer diagnosis, whatever it might be. That's going to make it difficult. But the actual like interpersonal relationship being difficult, the uncommunicated expectations, the bickering, the disappointment, whatever it might be, a lot of it can come down to our own selfishness. And a helpful visual for me was draw a circle around yourself and fix the thing inside the circle. I've heard that in a lot of different contexts, but it's so helpful because like usually I'm like, I want to control the other person, or like, you're the problem if you would just do this. And it's like, okay, well, that just revealed 10 things about your own heart that you need to work on. And so I guess that's like a challenge or a call really to single, dating, and married people is like, you're never at the destination. Like, there's always 10,000 things that the Lord is trying to do in you that you don't see. You may be aware of a few of them. I'm pretty sure there's a John Piper quote, exactly that. But yeah, like they have this constant growth mindset while in that waiting period. Or maybe you have quote unquote arrived and you are in marriage. Like, don't settle. Like, your continual fight against selfishness will bless your spouse too.
Everything you said is so true. And I like that you said that it really is for everybody. In every single relationship that you're in.
Friendships too.
You draw the circle, like you fix what's in your control, and it's not another person.
No.
And so my question to you now is, well, I guess two parts. So like, how does culture say you should date? How does dating in light of who God is and who you are change how you should date?
Yeah, you say that and like self-image comes to mind. Almost the sense of the world would tell you like dating to find your purpose and your identity and to show that like you're deserving of love. And scripture would teach, even though it doesn't talk on dating, we want to operate and move from a place of health to go out into love and to serve. And so we are not finding someone to fill our needs and to make us feel sure about ourselves. We're getting that vertically, not horizontally. We're getting that sense of identity and image from the Lord. So I would say I'm really grateful that I actually didn't date until later. And I think it allowed me to get a really firm sense of self-identity and like self-confidence and assurance in a way, and like being rooted like I am a child of God. God designed me to be a woman after his own heart, a woman that looks this certain way and expresses him in this certain way. And to not perfect by any means, insecurity is still something we all work through. But having this assurance of like, this is who I am. I'm not trying to be XYZ. I'm not trying to be her. I'm not trying to do this. I am focused on this mission and this calling that God has given me, and I'm going to fully express myself in this. And if God has marriage for me, like that person is going to help complement that and cultivate that in me. And they're not going to tear down. They're going to like be like, man, literally the Timothy Keller's quote again, like, I see what God is doing in you and how he's growing you on your way to heaven. Like, I want to be a part of that. Like, so I think it probably saved me from a lot of like insecure dating and like choosing people, because it's like, well, don't get me wrong, there are times I flirted with it where it was like, oh man, like this person like thinks I'm this, like, oh, I don't even think that highly of myself. What are they seeing in me that I'm not seeing myself? What beauty are they captivated by? And it's not a pride of like, I'm all that, right? But it's this assurance of being made in the image of God. And like, yeah, like I know my worth. Like I know a certain standard of how I should be treated in a sense. And so I think that probably saved me from some of the heartbreak of trying to fill that sense with other men.
That's good. As you were talking about that, I was like, gosh, in my own dating history, it was a lot of not knowing who I am.
Yeah.
And seeking my identity in other people.
Yeah.
And so for the girl out there, guy too, that's listening, thinking, I want to start dating, or I am dating, or I have been for a long time. One, do you know who God is? And do you know who you are? Because if you don't know who you are as a child of God, then like you will find and gravitate towards getting identity from the world. Mm-hmm. And then you're always chasing what the world says is good. And what the world says is good is often what God says is not good.
Yeah.
Chasing after what the world says is good is what Eve did when she ate of the apple. Chasing after what the world says is good is what the people building the Tower of Babel did before God spread them apart all over the world. The Bible is constantly talking about so-and-so saw this as good. And it's usually a bad thing.
Yeah.
Most of the time, they saw this was good. That was a bad thing. They thought this was good. It was actually a bad thing. And it brought destruction, or it brought curses, or it brought chaos. It's like what the world says is good, usually opposite of what God says is good.
And it's always changing. The standard is exhausting.
Yeah,
like, let's be so real. Like, body image for women, like one day be skinny as a twig, and then the next day, like, be curvy and like all that. And then, you know, be like that, like one day it's like be that super like soft, meek woman, like, you know, Rapunzel in the tower that must be saved. And then the next day it's like, no, like confident women and like women that speak their mind are in. And it's just like, bro, I'm exhausted. Like, who am I supposed to be today? You know, looking to the world for that. Yeah. Versus like Christ is literally a firm foundation. You can count on his character being the same yesterday, today, tomorrow as it was 4,000 years ago. Yep. And that's just like instant peace.
Yeah. So who does God call us to be? We are all called to the same character. And so for the single girl, how should she be looking to cultivate her character?
That's good.
But also for the married woman, whether she's been married for 2 years or 50 years, what should we be doing regardless of our life stage?
Man, that's so good. Honestly, I feel like it's so important to have wise counsel and like a community around you to speak truth. And like, this is kind of a daring challenge. Okay. But going to the people, the trusted people in your life who love you, who will speak truth with love, and be like, hey, honest evaluation, what can I work on? Or what sin patterns do you see in me? Yeah. It's so funny the number of times like I might be like ranting about a situation or doing something totally from the flesh, and then I'll just stop and I'll catch myself and I'll be like, Clint, am I being hypercritical? And he's like, a little bit. And I'm like, a little bit. Thank you for that. Thank you for the honest feedback. Like, yeah, I received that. And so, yeah, people that like know you can speak into you, can see your blind spots. And I feel like that's such a gift. Like, something I was literally just expressing to him the other day was I'm a huge natural perfectionist. And so the sense that like I have flaws and there's anything wrong with me, I don't want to see it. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I want this perfect curated image of, yeah, I've got it all together. And that was me for so long growing up. And there was something about like turning 25, 26. There was a shift for me. I don't know why, but it was like, dang, that's like a prison. That's exhausting. Like there's actually so much more freedom and honesty in knowing the truth. Because like think about like that person that like thinks they're all that and they have it all together, and and like everyone behind their back is like, oh gosh, da da da, we all know this thing and blah blah. It's like that's so embarrassing to be like, dang, everyone kind of sees this thing about me, this version of me, and I'm just being like la 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 la. Like, so having that humility to be like, oh wow, I am imperfect, but I'm still worthy of love. And I can still show up and like have these awesome friendships or have this spouse. And it's like, oh, okay, these things like can both be true. And so now I actually am seeking out like constructive feedback. Like I see myself doing it at work now, where it's like, hey, thank you for like this. What can I do better? Or like, like in communication with Clint, like, how can I like better serve you this week? Or friends, like, what's something that's like holding us back in our friendship, or something I can do. And so God will start to call those things out.
Yeah.
And he's so gentle about it though. Like you don't have to worry.
Yeah.
Like when you ask God for that insight, it's never a place of like critique or condemnation or I'm going to dump 5,000 things on you and you can't handle it. He's so gentle and so patient. And it'll be like, hey, Kate, like for me, the past few weeks, it's been, Kate, you're chronically late to everything. 5 to 10 minutes. I was 10 minutes late coming to your house.
That's true.
And it's like, yeah, in the grand scheme of thing, it might not be a big deal to you.
Right.
But it's actually a little sign of disrespect to the person maybe whose event you're going to. Or if you're showing up for a coffee with a friend, like just like love them better by planning your time a little better. And yeah, like it affects Clint. And when he's like, we're gonna leave the house, you're gonna be late for church, or and I'm meeting up with a friend and they're waiting on me at Starbucks for 15 minutes. It's like, Kate, this is a way that like you're not a great manager of your time, and it affects other people. Like, and he's so gentle and so patient. And then I'm sure a week from now he'll be like, all right, Kate, you're ready to handle this next truth about yourself. Yeah. So,
man. Okay, so 2 things out of that I want to pull out. One, basically you said perfectionism is a prison. And only Jesus has the keys to freedom.
I like how you like make what I say in a long-winded way, like a short phrase you could stitch on a pillow.
I thought about that one for a long time. I took a minute.
That's good. I like that.
I took a minute. But then also, I love that you clarified like God's voice is gentle.
Yeah.
And not condemning, because a lot of us think, I don't want to take things to God. I'm scared of God. God's mean. God's evil. God's going to yell at me. I hear that a lot. God's going to be angry with me, or I'm scared of God. I'm like, why? And they're like, because he's the Old Testament God. He has rage. And I was like, no. Like,
tell me you haven't read the Old Testament without telling me you haven't read the Old Testament.
But also it's like, you want to see what God did? Go read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It's like Jesus is the walking, talking, fully God, fully man. And it's like, you love Jesus.
Right.
Because he's compassionate and kind and gentle and not condemning. But God is scary. It's like, well, Jesus is God.
They share the same character.
Yeah. And God is love. Yeah. And so as we're talking about like all these relationships and whether it's dating or friendship or community, it's like, well, the foundation of all of it is Christ. Like you said, Christ is the firm foundation. But really it's like, God is love, so love is the foundation. And it's like, well, if we aren't loving people well, then like selfishness comes out, or anger comes out, or gossip comes out, or whatever it is, like kind of all these bad character traits, flaws, whatever we want to call them, sin. But God is still patient and God is still kind. And I think that maybe we have heard the voice in our head that's condemning and shameful and mean, maybe that's the enemy, or maybe that's our own flesh, and we get them confused sometimes. And so how do you know the difference between God's voice and the enemy's voice? I think you said it so well. It's like, God doesn't condemn. He's not shaming you. He's not guilt tripping you. He's gentle.
Right.
He's loving, and he's patient, and he's guiding you.
Yeah. Another helpful framework that I heard about distinguishing the voice of the enemy versus the voice of God is that the feelings that the enemy gives you are vague. They're powerful and vague. God's voice of conviction is specific and gentle. His kindness brings us to repentance. So right, the voice of God is gonna be like, Kate, I love you so much. Your chronic lateness. This we need to work on. The enemy is gonna be like, you suck. Your friends don't actually like you, and you're not worth anything. Like, see how it's vague? Ugh. Versus like a specific, like, hey, that voice you used, that tone you used with that friend was unkind. Let's correct that, you know?
Yeah, instead of, oh, you messed up again. They're not going to like you.
They
don't like you anyway. You suck.
Right.
I've like felt that recently of just like, I feel like a burden, or I feel like I'm too much or too loud or too annoying.
Dang.
And one, I'm like, I should probably go like see where this is coming from. But two, like this is the enemy's work, not the Lord. This is not something from God.
Oh.
So that got in there because I needed that today. So
thanks. I love it. A little plug for the book, Gentle and Lowly. Have you read it before?
I have it.
Okay. 10 out of 10 recommend. That shifted my mindset so much about the character of God, because I grew up very much, my natural inclination is God's righteousness, God's truth, God's judgment. And so to see how Dane Ortland is the author, he pulls out all of these moments and interactions of Jesus with people and being like, actually God's character is first that he's gentle and lowly. Jesus, the only descriptors that he has of himself in the Gospels is that I am gentle and lowly. And so that's that's how God describes himself, why would we not see him that way?
Yeah. And why would we try to be anything different?
Yeah.
Like if God's gentle and lowly, why am I rash and putting myself up here? You know?
It's so cool. Like back to your comment about the God of the Old Testament. Like that's been on my mind recently because I've been doing the Bible in a year reading plan, which is now taking me 2 years to get through.
I'm with you. Yep.
I'm reading through the major prophets. I'm reading Jeremiah right now.
Okay.
And bro, if you actually sit down and read these passages for yourself, your conclusion out of it will not be that God is unjust and a harsh punisher. He's actually withholding so much justice he could let out. Like these people are given this covenant by God, seen his faithfulness to their ancestors for years and years and years. And then they start doing child sacrifice to these gods and idols that don't exist. They like do horrible things. They're extremely violent. Just things that like, we think the American church is corrupted. Like horrible things are happening. And God's like, not only am I going to withhold my punishment, I'm going to give you multiple prophets and be like, hey, turn from your sin.
Yep.
Not like this is your last and only chance. It's like turn from your sin, turn from your sin. And Jeremiah's doing this for 40 years.
Over and over
and chapter and chapter. And you're like, bro, just let it rain down fire. Like bring the judgment already. And then even when he calls out his judgment, he's like, hey, this nation is going to come take you captive. This nation is going to bring you into slavery for this many years. But, and he still gives them hope. He's like, but I'm going to bring you back and restore you and restore your land. And what once was ashes and damaged soil, we're going to regrow crops again. We're going to build up your cities again. And it's like, why are you not giving up on these people? I would have. Like,
right.
That's so crazy how patient you are. And you still have plans for good for them, even though you haven't even seen them repent yet. Like, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Proof that God is so patient.
So patient.
I'm always so grateful for God's grace and like giving me what I don't deserve. But I haven't been as grateful for his mercy in that he doesn't give me what I do deserve. And that's like, God is all merciful is like, you see that over and over and over again in the Old Testament is like, well, they deserve this. Like we reading it are like, okay, God, just give it to them at this point. Like, this is ridiculous. And it's like, nope. He like withholds.
Yeah.
He provides, he leads the way. There's nobody as patient as God is or merciful or gracious. And so it's like, well, that's who we need to be.
Yes.
Like we're on this path of becoming more like Christ is like, what does that look like? You know, love, patience, kindness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control. There's a few more in there, but it's like, that's not all of it. It's merciful and it's gracious and it's compassionate. It's gentle. It's humble. These are the characteristics that like we are meant to embody.
Yeah.
And the world says that those are bad traits. It says, be bold, be overly confident, push your way through, lead the charge. And God's word says the first will be last and the last will be first. It's like, it doesn't say lead the charge. It says get in the back of the line.
Yeah. They hurt you once, cut them off. No, don't show grace. Don't show mercy.
Yeah. It's like the world is like, oh, forgiveness, screw that.
Right.
God's like, forgive 70 times 7. You're like, what? What do you mean?
I can't count that high. What you talking about? But like, if you see that character of God, of his steadfastness so much, and you're like, that doesn't really describe me. Maybe let's work on that before getting into a long-term relationship.
Yeah, exactly. So tying that all back to go to your community, ask the people closest to you, what do you see in me that is off base of who God's calling me to be?
Dang. In preparation for this podcast, I called up my mom because her and I are like this. She's one of my best friends for real. And I called her up and I was like, this year you and my dad are celebrating 35 years married together. And I feel like I look at y'all and like, yeah, y'all bicker and y'all have your little fights in front of us sometimes, but like, I feel like y'all are genuinely like best friends and like love each other. And like, y'all are both some of the best examples of Christ like in my life. And I'm so grateful for like being raised into that household. And so I was like, what advice would you give? I'm like, I feel so unqualified to give advice like only 2 years in. Like I can speak of my experience, like my story is legitimate, but I'm like, how much more wisdom do you have in 35 years? And she gave me a plethora of stuff. I won't hit you with all of it, but some of the, or one of the pieces of imagery that she gave me that was really cool is your marriage is like a lifelong mirror and it will show you things that you never saw in yourself. And so that's like cool to see marriage as a tool of, we can call single people like, hey, work on the refinement of yourself. I'm sure you are aware of some of your sin habits and tendencies. But how cool to be able to call on community, call on your spouse and to like ask them those things, but also like they're going to show you. And I think even one of the cool things that I've gotten to see in my relationship with Clint is like, he's rarely teaching me stuff because he's like sitting down, calling out sin or like, hey, like, teaching at me or reading something from the Bible. I'm observing him living his life passively and getting like little nuggets and like learning and being like, oh, wow, like you're so disciplined in this way. Like, I want to be disciplined in that way. Or like you get up early even when you don't want to. And like, I scroll on my phone for 30 minutes, like on social media before I'm like, okay, I'm ready to face the day. Or it's like, little sacrifices that he makes or things that he does that I just observe. And I'm like, oh, I want to adopt that into my character. I want to adopt that into my habits. So that's cool. Or it like passively calls me out in a sense of like, oh, wow, he's going through this really tough situation with this friend, but he's yet speaking so respectfully of them. Like I would be probably gossiping right now and saying like really unkind things. And so I'm like indirectly convicted by like watching his lifestyle. And it's literally like a mirror to like, oh, okay, your character is not quite there.
Yeah. I love though that you're like encouraged by it. It's not a comparison. It's ooh, I want to walk like that too.
Yeah.
So I am becoming more like Christ by being married to this person and watching them. We
should never have like that defeated mindset as a believer because we have access to the most powerful being and he's given us literally his Holy Spirit to dwell in us. Mm-hmm. So like, it's not self-pity because I'm never going to be like him. No, I'm empowered by a holy God who wants to. His goal is to sanctify me and make me have more joy in him by looking like him. So I can tap into that power whenever. I can ask that of him. Well, I'm not going to pull myself up by my bootstraps the next day and be like, oh yeah, I'm getting up at 6 a.m. too to go for a 15-mile run. Like that's not going to go well. Or get up really early to read my Bible. It's like, you're not going to will it into being. We're going to invite a holy God, a powerful God. And we just don't tap into that power or that access. And it's like the victim mentality versus like, oh, boo-hoo, poor me, versus like, oh no, I have access to this change, to this growth.
Yep, the Holy Spirit does the work. Okay, so you mentioned your mom had some nuggets of wisdom.
Yes.
So give us all you got.
Okay. She said it's so important to choose your partner well. Like just upfront, picking the person with high character, someone that you respect, right? That reflects God's character. Like that's a layup, but it's so important, right? Like they're going to change. You can't predict the next 60 years. Circumstances will be all over the place. So she also said, like, there is no guarantee that it's going to be easy or that it's going to work out. She's had a lot of, she's seen a lot of women, really godly, solid women who, their marriages have ended for a variety of reasons. So there's no guarantee that we can, pick so well and be like so sure and get 100% clarity up front of like, all right, cool, I picked this person and now it's like for sure we're good, we're locked in for the next 60 years. They're gonna change. Your circumstances are going to go up and down, and so that's why our ultimate faith and hope is like on Christ our cornerstone. We can't bank all of our hope on one person. And one of the last things that she said was what I touched on earlier of like a green flag being someone who's quick to apologize. She's like, that's something I still like love and appreciate about your dad, is like, he's usually the one after a fight who's gonna come back and apologize first. And so like, right, humility, green flag. That's huge. Can't highlight that one enough.
Love that. Thanks, Mama Smith.
Oh, shout out. We love you, Mama.
We talked a lot about relationships and expectations and character, but I realized like Valentine's Day, everybody just walks in with different feelings. Some people are like super excited. They're super joyful. They're like really satisfied wherever they are in life. Some people are like grieving loss right now. Some people are fighting or hurting in their current relationship, or like struggling in singleness, or like don't have the girlfriends to like have a Galentine's. Some people are mending heartbreaks. I say all this to like recognize like Valentine's Day brings such an array of emotions to people, but also like this culture of ours, like this week is all about hearts and love and pink and red and everywhere you look, and every TV show and every song is like romance and rom-coms, and sometimes that like sparks that comparison, or it hurts or like deepens the wound that's already there. But like, this wouldn't be me if I didn't take all this back to a little bit of truth. And so the truth for this little podcast wrap up is that God loves you, and he's the only one that can fill your heart. Y'all, like, I chased love and boys for years. And I always felt empty and worthless and unlovable and broken. And I kind of told you earlier, like, guys were my idol. Yeah. And so I always left just empty handed, but like the true love, unending, flawless, selfless, the unconditional love that we all crave so deeply can only be found in Christ. And he came and he died on a cross and he was resurrected so that we could experience his love. And he loved us from before we were even born, before we were even thought about by our parents. God had us in mind, and he knew who we would become, and he had a plan for us, and he had everything drawn out. And he was like, I'm going to love this person, and I'm going to create them to do beautiful and wonderful things. And he demonstrated his love for us, and that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. I love Romans 5:8 because it's like, regardless of my past or my present or my relationships, God chose me and he loved me, and I didn't earn it, but I can't lose it.
Come on.
And so some of our friends listening, y'all have really terrible histories of people saying they love you and they hurt you and they abuse you and they abandon you. And I just want you to know, like, that's not love. God is love. Jesus is love. He's the one that fills up your cup. And when we let God fill our cup, then that's what runs over, and that's what makes us different, and that's what's sanctifying. And when we are so filled up with God's love and that's what flows out, then it's that same love that's flowing into our relationships. And so that's kind of the whole point, is like when we walk in light of who God is and who we are, then we date different. We are in relationships in a different way because the love that's coming out isn't from us. It's from the Lord. So it's more naturally selfless. It's more naturally caring. It's more naturally gracious and compassionate. And it's not something that's like, well, if I work hard enough, then I'll be good enough for this person. Or if I work hard enough, then I'll be kinder. Or if I work hard enough, then I'll be a better girlfriend or spouse. It's like, the closer and more in line you are in your walk with Christ, the more that these things are just going to outflow. And it's a work between you and God, not you and you.
Yeah.
And so there's like my final, I don't know, encouragement, but also challenge too, of stop trying so hard and just lean into the Lord. Because the more we try and we fail, the more that we feel the weight. And it's like, we talked about it last week a little bit, and probably the week before too, but like the sanctification thing is a process. It's a little growth over time. It's between God and you, and like that's going to outflow. And you're going to look back and you're going to be like, oh, wow, how I would have handled this situation is different than how I used to handle it. And it's like, yeah, that's Jesus. That's the Holy Spirit, He's working in your life. There's evidence of that. And as we're in these relationships, it's like you want to shine a light, like you want to reflect Jesus. So how do you do that? You spend time with him.
Right.
How can you reflect Jesus if you don't know who he is?
Right.
You don't know his character.
Yeah. Can I also add to, like, with a season of so much expectation, especially love, like, we have a God who surpasses our expectations. Like, I've heard the most, like, potent argument for Christianity is that man could have never made up in his mind a love like this incredible, a God that would come down and sacrifice all his glory and his power and majesty and submit himself to a limited creature to be verbally attacked, physically abused, to die and pick punishment for a sin he never engaged in. Like that God that you engage with through prayer, through conversation, with like relationship with him, like you're never gonna be like, dang, I'm disappointed. He didn't meet my expectations. Will he maybe work out things in your life different than you expected? For sure. But the kind of love that he displays is always beyond imagination, beyond what you can conceive. Yeah. It's like, that's so cool because I love my husband so much, but like Clint will disappoint me at the end of the day. His love can only go so far. But like what God did for me, like me specifically, like I couldn't fathom that. I still can't wrap my mind around it. Like when we're continually reading and like seeing it as if it's for the first time, like, whoa, that love is for me. Yeah. Like that's cool to be able to say like February 14th, like the love of God does not disappoint me.
And I think that's like the foundation of all of it. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Like if you don't know God and you don't know his love, then like you're missing out on everything. Yeah. Nothing else will fill the hole. Nothing else will satisfy. It will always come up short.
Yeah, Ephesians 3 says, all glory to God who is able, through his mighty power at work within us, to accomplish infinitely more than we might ask or think. So whatever your wish list is, your top 10, loves Jesus, has abs, 6'5", whatever it is, God's going to exceed that expectation, that demonstration of love and mercy and compassion for you.
That's the perfect way to wrap up. I think that's beautifully said.
Love it.
And Kate, thanks for being here. Yeah. Thanks for talking about Valentine's Day with your single friend.
I love it.
And just sharing with our podcast friends.
Yeah.
Just a little bit about your journey, stories, and you and Clint, and shining a little truth. But it's also been a lot of fun.
I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah.
Always a joy to hang with you.
Yeah. Till next time.
All right. Peace.
The best way to support 2 Feet In with Kim is by sharing it with your friends. And you can follow along on Instagram at 2 Feet In with Kim. See you next time.